So, as we all know, there are major riots going on in California. You have the Mexicans; they are very upset because many of them are being deported back to being deported back to Mexico, and they don't want to go back. Which really is confusing to me because why are you going around holding up Mexican flags while complaining that you don't want to go back to Mexico? It just doesn't really make too much sense now, does it? Now, the problem that a lot of you guys make is that you're thinking about this in terms of Republican versus Democrat. And you're right if you say that yes, Trump is simply enforcing federal law by removing the illegal aliens, and he's right to deploy national guards. National guardsmen have been sent to California to enforce federal law. That's kind of the point of the National Guard. I even saw today in the news that 700 Marines have been summoned to California to assist with the National Guards in quelling those riots, which you could definitely make the argument, and I'd say you're probably right if you were to make the argument that this is Trump simply enforcing federal law while the California citizens, primarily the Mexicans, are saying, no, we don't want federal law enforced. We want to be able to come into your country and take all of your resources and reap all of your benefits and take all of your Medicare, take all of your food stamps. Because that's what we want to do. And so Trump certainly isn't wrong to enforce federal law. And any liberal saying that, oh, this is a steady creep towards fascism, I'm extremely skeptical of that. Because, during the Joe Biden administration, liberals were largely silent on the fascism pushed by the Biden administration or any type of fascism or socialism or communism that's pushed on the left side of the aisle. They were totally silent on that. They were totally silent when they tried to control our language and say that you had to call a man a woman and a woman a man. They were totally silent on that. So I really don't want to hear that argument from liberals. But I will say, and this is a simple observation that I made, that the federal government and the billionaires, the oligarchs who actually run this country, I think these Mexicans, these rioters, are playing right into their hands. And I'll tell you why I think they're playing right into their hands. They operate best under chaos. Okay, the billionaires, the oligarchs, the Illuminati, whatever secret organization, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, the people who actually run this country, they love to see the riots. They love it because it simply gives them a pretext to expand the security state. Think back to things like 9/11. 9/11 was simply a pretext to expand the security state by establishing things like the Department of Homeland Security, expanding organizations like the NSA, who can literally, unwarranted, tap into your phone calls, watch it, look at your text messages without warrants, without any other authority other than they feel like it. That happened because of 9/11. We lost a lot of rights during 9/11. Also, the George Floyd riots. That was simply a pretext for something else. Right after the George Floyd riots, they pushed things like DEI, which I talked about in the video a few days ago, did not help black people. Only 4% of people employed under the context of DEI were black people. The rest were white women, trans white men, trannies, and all that kind of stuff. To foreigners. And so, when we're looking at these Mexican riots, and here you see the Mexican flag again, when we're looking at these Mexican riots, of course, yes, Trump is enforcing federal law, but I think we're looking at something much bigger here. Much bigger here. And I'll make this prediction and watch it come true within the next 1 week to 2 weeks, maybe even sooner. These riots, it's going to get worse before it gets better. These riots are going to come up with someone dead, maybe a couple of the protesters, maybe even a few ICE agents. And once the ICE agents die, this is simply going to be a predication for Trump to say, hey, look, you see, things are out of control. Now we must expand the security state. Remember about a week ago, Trump did this. Trump awarded a new big ticket contract to Palantir. Do you know who Palantir is? Palantir is a tech organization that collects data on Americans. Now, usually when the government does this, whenever they contract people like Palantir or contract people like Blackwater, they don't just do it for no reason, okay? They have to have some type of pretext. During the days of George W. Bush, during the days of Obama, they said they did it for the sake of terrorism. Obama shut down journalists and he censored journalists for the sake of national security. And now Trump he's still citing national security, but it's a little bit different from how Bush did it. Bush did it under the pretext of terrorism. Obama did it under the pretext of terrorism. Trump is doing it under the pretext of immigration, saying, look, they're not allowing me to enforce federal law. Therefore, we must contract Palantir, all these tens of millions, probably even hundreds of millions of dollars, so that they can create a master database of U.S. citizens. Palantir's tools are being used to potentially merge data across agencies, bank records, medical info, student debt, creating detailed profiles on Americans. So just a week ago, Trump he signed an executive order contracting Palantir tens of millions of dollars for the sake of collecting the data of Americans and creating a database of all of this. Now, if you know anything about the federal government, you know this isn't going in the right direction, because I'm not saying that Trump is going to use these for nefarious purposes. But eventually, if we do get a president, I don't know, Kamala Harris or whoever, name, insert person you don't like. If we do eventually get that president, and say you happen to protest against that president, or this is a good one, say you happen to protest against the pro-Israel president. Well, you go in that database, and this will provide them plenty of information to do things like blackmail you, mess with your bank accounts, mess with your medical records, or do God knows what. So while I'm against these protests, and I definitely think that federal law should be enforced, we should get the illegals out. It's definitely a bad thing. I damn sure wouldn't be out there protesting saying, keep the illegals in the country. No, I damn sure wouldn't be doing that. But we have to look at the bigger picture, because like I said, it's not about Republican versus Democrat. It's about the have versus the have-nots. And in the past, when we've seen things like this happen, 9/11, the George Floyd riots, even up to January 6th, usually things like this are a pretext to expand the security state or expand something else. It's usually a power grab by the powers that be for the sake of control. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. And remember to like, subscribe, share, and as always, stay woke.